It's never a beautiful day in this neighborhood. Even the cardigan can't create sufficient self-delusion to believe that there is, so it will come off. Much as Mr. Rogers removes his cardigan, or rather puts it on, or yes, I believe he puts it on, at the beginning of each episode. This will quite sufficiently symbolize what I'm about to get into, as the very poorly written title cards have shown you. The subject of today's video is going to be the Fruit Wheats in the No board game. And with all my random shuffling around and moving the laptop because I don't have any other way of changing the camera angles, you can tell how well produced this video is going to be. Anyway, getting to the point. I believe Mr. Rogers had very good intentions when he would tell you that you were special just for being yourself and so forth, even though it really was not quite true. Thankfully, anytime I watched an episode of Mr. Rogers and was walking on air with self-satisfaction after, Fruit Wheats was there to bitch slap me back into reality. I'm thankful for that. And so should be anyone else who was fortunate enough to know Fruit Wheats and to have ever played there in the No board game. The reason why this is such a great board game is not only was it connected to the world's greatest cereal ever produced, but you learned a lot of the hard truths of life from it quite effectively. From the very beginning, it's a lot of work. This is the original cutout panel, and in a moment I'll cut to an image of it so you can see what it looked like before I took it apart. And before I continue, I would like to thank two friends of mine and followers of my channel for providing me with this board game. I had not seen my own copy in nearly 30 years. Never thought I would have one again, so my appreciation toward them. One of them happens to have his own YouTube channel under the name of Enemy Child. It's rap related. I don't really understand rap, but if you like rap, you'll probably like his channel. So that's Enemy Child. Now back to the board game. Just to play the game takes an incredible amount of work. You have to cut out all the pieces, form your own dice, assemble all the cards together and so forth. Much more than you have to do with a typical board game. But it teaches that if you want to play, you have to pay. Nothing's free. Don't expect free rides in life because you're just not that special. Again, Mr. Rogers meant well, but he was wrong. Anyway, this game did a lot of important things. For one thing, it taught me a lot of needless trivia at a very early age. I learned to read quite early because there were a lot of books around the house and there wasn't a whole hell of a lot else to do. So I did a lot of reading from an early age. So by the time I was 5 and this game came out, I was already able to read the cards, which enabled me to play the game, which is fairly important because usually there is nobody else around to play the game with. So what I would do was, with the 3 different game player pieces that you're given, blueberry, strawberry, and apple. Typically I would take the apple to represent myself. My dog would be the strawberry, and the blueberry would be my cactus. And I would just sort of take my turns as theirs. Though in the rare occasions where somebody was willing to play against me, things got more complicated. We'll get into that in due time. Now, the way this game worked, unfortunately, the actual board itself for the game came on the back of the box, which nobody was able to find. So I just have the cards, but the board game had sort of a Monopoly-like setup where there was a big corner starting piece, there was a corner jam space, and there were 2 corner luck spaces. the jam spaces were very important because you got what's called a jam card. And when that happened, whoever was playing against you would pick up the jam card and they could read you one of two questions. There was an A question and a B question. The B questions were tougher than the A questions. Or make sure I'm getting this right because I haven't played it in quite a while. Yes, the B questions were in fact the hard ones. So anybody who was playing it with you could easily stick it to you if they wanted to. Not only that, if you got a jam question correct, there was no reward. You just weren't penalized. If you got it wrong, you lost one of your letter cards. In order to successfully win the game, you had to answer questions and connect these face-down letter cards that you'll see here to collect the letters to spell out the phrase, I know. Now, if you got a jam question wrong, you would lose one of the letters you had already acquired. This teaches an important life lesson. You can do as, even when you do things right, usually people aren't going to care, and it's not going to get you anywhere. But if you slack off for the slightest amount of time, or believe your own hype, you will fail and be punished for it. And as I said, those who hold the cards, the jam cards, can choose to give you a difficult question, showing that whenever a helping hand is extended, you must look for a dagger in the other. Important life lessons I learned at the age of 5, courtesy of Fruit Wheats, that still apply today. Another important lesson I taught was a lot of life isn't how hard you work, but rather dumb luck. That's why you had these "you are in luck" cards. They were the same as the jam cards in that they had an A question or a B question on them, only you wouldn't be penalized if you got something wrong. And if you got it right, you'd be rewarded with a letter. Once again, showing that sometimes you'll just be lucky. The work you put in doesn't matter. All you gotta do is be lucky and kiss ass, and that's how you get to the top. And if you don't have those gifts, and if fortune is against you, then it does not matter what you do. You will fail. You'll be humiliated. You will be punished for it. And you have no choice but to suck that up and deal with it. Now, in a lot of these cards would teach some facts that a young child might not know, but they're things that are important to know. How many sides are in a square? 4. Well, anybody should know that. That's why it's the A question. B, how many sides are in an octagon? Answer is 8. Yes, that's easy now, but for a 5-year-old it might be a tougher question. And then it goes on to there's different categories. There's categories for animals, geography, history, and I believe science. And they take it up to another level here. The A question here is the pyramids are in which country, where you can answer either Egypt or Mexico. Fruit Wheats is culturally aware enough to not leave the Mayans out of things. And the B question, the Amazon River is found which continent? South America. These are things you should know, but maybe you don't. In the 80s, we didn't rely on Alexa, and we didn't ask Siri questions. If you wanted to know something, you bought a box of Fruit Wheats, you opened it up, you pulled apart the pull-apart pieces, searched the cards until you found the question and answer you were looking for. And that's the way it should still be now. I don't need Siri. I don't need Alexa. I need Fruit Wheats. We'll never have them again. But what I do have are my Fruit Wheat question and answer cards, and they will never fail me. Even if I end up senile one day and forget some of what I know now, these cards will be there to help me out. So anyway, the way this game worked is you would move throughout the board and collect the letters when you earned one until you could spell the phrase, I know. And sometimes things could work oddly if you didn't play the game quite right, or if you lost some of the pieces. And at the end of the game, there might not be anybody who spelled out, I know. Fruit Wheats wasn't about to let you off the hook that easily. If this happened, you were to submit the letters you had collected back to the pile, or at least 2 of them, and keep on playing until someone correctly spelled I know. Fruit Wheats wasn't going to let you walk away from the table without knowing these important pieces of trivia. They were setting you up to maybe one day reach the insurmountable goal of being a Quiz Bowl captain, which, pathetically enough, is probably the greatest achievement of my life so far. I guess that's about all they did for you in terms of academics. But as I said, the life lessons this game taught are ones that have stayed with me. You can't slack off. You can't rely on your work being noticed. You're not special just for being yourself. The hand that feeds will also be the hand that bites. In short, people are assholes. Don't trust them. And never let down your guard, and work hard, but not so hard, because at the end of the day, it's not so much what you do as that people will notice as what you don't do. Your mistakes will be magnified much larger, your successes, and rightly so. And Fruit Wheats grounds us a bit. So anytime someone gets a swelled head, they need to play in the know and have their expectations tempered a bit and remember who they are. And that's about all there is to say about that. I would also additionally add this Entenmann's Mint Cookie Crunch Bar. Kind of taking a left turn here at the last minute. It isn't related to anything I was talking about before, but lately I've been seeing brands try to diversify into areas that they're not normally in. For example, the pre-wrapped Krispy Kreme snacks, just the horribly disappointing coconut pie that I showed you in the way back review video. So let's see if Entenmann's was able to make the cross from cakes to candy with any degree of success. Well, that wasn't bad at all. It was reminiscent of a Girl Scouts Thin Mint cookie. I wouldn't say Entenmann's is quite ready to put on a leotard and try out for the U.S. gymnastics team, but they've proven just now they're plenty flexible, just the same. So that's really all there is left to say. So keep on watching this channel and treating yourself to the sometimes painful truths it has to reveal, such as the fact that even though my shirt says McRib is back, it really isn't. And if you can, try to get your own version of the in the know Fruit Wheats game. If you cannot do so, make your own, or just stand in the mirror before you go to work or school each day and berate yourself under your breath for a while. And just keep it all in perspective. Good night.